Also we can calculate the same answer. Now let me explain the simple way to answer this question. Let's see how simple it is. Let us consider the the principal amount as 100. So what we are taking here, principal amount as 100. It will be doubled in 8 years, means if I wait for 8 years, 100 will become 200. So it is the principal amount and it is the amount after 8 years according to the given statement. So after 8 years it is double. Now if you observe these two, my 100 rupees will become 200 after 8 years. Why it's becoming 200? Because we are adding another 100 rupees as the interest. Simply 8 years interest what we are adding is 100 rupees, because already I have 100 and I am adding another 100 which is totally 200. So 8 years interest is equals to 100 rupees, and what is 1 year interest from this? 100 by 8 which is equals to 12.5, and I am calculating per 100. Anything which is calculated per 100 should be considered as percentage. That's why my rate of interest is 12.5 percentage. That's it. Very simple. Here the calculation part will become so easy. Simply 100 will become 200 in 8 years according to the given statement. Double means. So in 8 years we are adding 100 interest. So in 1 year 100 by 8 which is 12.5 percentage. Now let me explain by taking another example here. Suppose a principal amount will be tripled. Principal amount will be tripled in 10 years. Then find the rate of interest. Now let's see how simply we can answer this. If I take 100, that will become, so triple means 300. In what time? In 10 years. Actually I am having 100, but now it is 300, means we added 200 rupees interest. So how much interest? 200 interest. In what time? 10 years. So 10 years interest equals to 200, and what is 1 year interest? Simply 200 by 10 which is equals to 10. So that 10 is considered as the rate of interest. So in this way you can calculate the required answer. Sometimes there may be some extension to this question. Simply without asking this rate of interest, they may ask another value, like let me show how they can ask a different question related to this. If a sum doubled in 5 years, if a sum of money doubled in 5 years, in what time it will be 4 times. 4 times. The money will be doubled in 2 years. The sum of money doubled in 5 years. It will be doubled in 5 years, and we want the time in which the money will become 4 times of the principal amount. Now let's see. The meaning of this is simply, if I take 100 rupees as the principal amount, it will be 200 after what time? 5 years. So in 5 years it will be 200. That means in 5 years the interest what we are adding is equals to 100 rupees become 200, means 100 rupees interest added. So in 1 year the interest what we are getting is simply 20. Why? 100 by 5 is getting this value. So in 1 year we are paying 20 rupees interest, but I am not asking that interest of 1 year or rate of interest. So the value what I want is in what time it will be 4 times. So to get 4 times, 100 has to become 400. When 100 has to become 400, how much interest we need to add? We need to add 100 plus another 300 rupees interest we must add. So 300 interest should be added. For that, what is the time we are taking? For 1 year we are getting 20. For 300 it will be 300 by 20, which is equals to 15 years. Sorry. So this is how we are taking 15 years. So the money will become 4 times in 15 years. So in this way we will find out the required value. Here the meaning is very simple. We need to find out the interest for 1 year and calculating the number of years to get that much of interest, to get 4 times. In this way, whatever the question they are asking, we can calculate the answer easily. Next, let us see the next question. Now, a sum of money became 8,400 in 2 years. In 2 years it became 8,400 and 10,500 in 5 years. Find sum. The question is simply a sum of money became 8,400 in 2 years and 10,500 in 5 years. We want the sum. Now we can calculate this by using the formula or the other way also. Let me explain how we can calculate the answer by taking the formula. And you know the formula as simple interest is equals to PTR by 100, and the other formula is amount is equals to principal amount plus interest or simple interest. So you can use this formula. So amount in 2 years, it is the amount after 2 years, so it is the time in this case, and it is the amount here and it is the time in this case. So you can substitute the required answers and you can calculate. If not, the simple way to calculate this is, what do you mean by 8,400 in 2 years? If I have certain principal amount, my principal amount will become 8,400 in 2 years. So it is definitely amount. Amount is always equals to principal amount plus simple interest only. And now it is the amount after 2 years that represents 8,400 as the principal amount plus 2 years interest only. So 2 years interest. So this 8,400 is what? Simply our principal amount plus 2 years interest. Now when you consider 10,500 is also amount at the end of 5th year. So amount at the end of 5th year is equals to principal amount plus 5 years interest. Hope it is clear. Whenever you are having the amount, how you will get the amount? Amount is equals to principal plus simple interest. We are calculating after 2 years means we are adding 2 years interest. If you are calculating after 5 years, it is 5 years interest what we need to add. So in that way you will get these two equations. Now when you look at these two equations, the difference between these two is simply 2,100, and the difference here is simply 3 years interest. From this what you can understand, 3 years interest is equals to 2,100. So for 1 year we will get the interest as 700. When you are able to get 1 year interest, now you can calculate the required value. So I want the sum. We need to find the sum. Let's see how I can get the sum. Sum is nothing but principal amount. So P value I want. Now you can use the first equation or the second equation. Suppose if I take first equation, 8400 is equals to principal amount we need to find out plus 2 years interest. 1 year interest is 7000. So 2 years means 2 times of 700. Now it is equals to 8400 is equals to P plus 1400, and from this principal amount is equals to 8400 minus 1400. So from this is equals to 7000. So in this way we can calculate the principal amount as 7000. If you want, you can use the other equation also. Even though you are taking the second equation, 10,500 is equals to principal plus 5 years of interest is 5 times of 700. So from this principal amount is equals to 10,500 minus 5 times of 700, 3,500. From this you are getting the principal amount as same. Whether you take the first equation or the second equation, you are getting the same answer. So in this way you can calculate easily. Hope understood. Now sometimes instead of asking sum, if I want rate of interest, I want rate of interest. So then also you need to calculate the principal amount first of all. When you get the principal amount as 7000 rupees, now we want the rate of interest. Now you can calculate in different ways. One of them is you can use the formula of simple interest is equals to PTR by 100. I know the principal amount and I want R, means you should take time and simple interest. So how you can take time? If I take time as 1 year, your simple interest is 700. If I take time as 2 years, your simple interest will be 1400. Substitute any combination, 1 year 700, 2 years 1400. So it's your choice, you can substitute. Suppose if I substitute 1 year and 700, simple interest is 700 and principal amount is 7000 rupees and time is 1 year and rate of interest we want by 100. When you calculate this, simply you will get the rate of interest as 10%. That is what we want. So the rate of interest is 10%. This is by using the formula. If not, how you can calculate is simply the principal amount is 7000 rupees. On this 7000 rupees for 1 year I am getting the interest as 700 rupees. If you consider this, for 1 year I am getting the simple interest of 700. What percentage will get us 700? It is simply 10%, because 10% of 7000 is 700. So in this way we can decide the rate of interest as 10% directly without using the formula also. But for that you should be good at the percentage calculation. That's why percentages are very important. Directly or indirectly we are using in many concepts. So it's better to know the percentage concept in detail. So whenever you know that, you can calculate these type of questions easily. Now for every question we are taking in terms of percentages or in terms of formulas. So that's why you can understand the importance of percentages. Now let us take the next question, where the question is, a man is depositing, he was having total 20,000 rupees. A man deposited his total 20,000 rupees into 2 banks, okay, where first bank pays 10% interest and second bank is paying some 16%. First bank is paying 10%, second bank is paying 16%, but the total interest he received from both the banks is equals to 2,400. So 2,400. So in this way, here we are getting the total interest of 2,400. Now we need to calculate the money deposited in the first bank as well as in the second bank. Now for that, let's see how we can calculate the required answer. Now this can be done in different ways. Suppose if I take the first bank, so first bank, if I take it as B1, I don't know the money, let us take X, and second bank as B2, and it is 20,000 minus X. Because it is X, it will be 20,000 minus X. The rate of interest here is 10%. Rate of interest here, it is totally 16% it is paying. Now you can calculate the interest on X at 10% per 1 year, that is 10 by 100 into X, which is equals to X by 10. And here you can calculate the interest on the second as 16% of 20,000 minus X. So it is nothing but 20,000 minus X. So if I take 4 times, okay, so it is 25. So this is what we are getting here. But according to the given information, X by 10 plus 4 into 20,000 minus X by 25 is equals to 2,400. So in this way we can calculate the required X value. So when you calculate here, so 50 is the LCM, so 5X plus 2 times 8 into 20,000 minus X by 50. LCM was 50, so 5 times and here 2 times is equals to 24,000. And now 5X plus 1,60,000 minus 8X is equals to 50 into 24. So 24 into 5 is 120, and then thousands here. So 1 lakh 12 lakhs rupees here what we are getting. Next, so when I am having, okay, so minus 3x is equals to, okay, so sorry, it is 2400, so it is exactly 1,20,000 is equals to 1,20,000 minus 1,60,000. From this, minus 3x is equals to minus 40,000, and minus minus cancel, x is equals to 40,000 by 3. So this is the money what he is going to deposit in the first bank, and when you know this, you can calculate the second bank money as 20,000 minus that. So this is how you can calculate the money deposited in the first bank and in the second bank. This is by using the formulas available. Without using this, there is a rule which is called as allocation rule. Actually, you will come to know about that rule when we discuss allocations and measures. So in that, there is a rule which is called as, now the first bank is paying as 10%, second bank is paying here 16%. If the total money is deposited in the first bank, 10% of 20,000 is the interest. That's why we will get 2,000 rupees. Now, if the total money is deposited in the second bank, obviously it is 16% is the total interest, 3,200, but we are getting 2,400 as the interest. Now you can take the value as the difference here is 800 and the difference here is 400, and the ratio is nothing but 2:1. What it indicates, if you deposit 2 parts in the first bank, we should here deposit 1 part in the second bank. So the money will be divided into 3 parts and we need to deposit the 2 parts in the first bank and 1 part in the second bank. So in this way you can apply that. If not, you can go through options also. Always that option is available, so checking through the options. So in this way, whatever you take, you will get the same answer. Next, when I calculate simple interest on a principal amount, simple interest on a principal amount is 1/4 of principal amount. When we are calculating the simple interest on a principal amount, so it is equals to 1/4 of the principal amount. Now what I want is find rate of interest and time if both are equal. The question is clearly we want to find out the rate of interest and time where these two are equal. So here clearly given that rate of interest is equals to time. So it is the given from this statement. Now simple interest, when you calculate simple interest, that is 1/4 of your principal amount. If I take principal amount as P, so simple interest is equals to 1/4 of principal amount. Now these two are equal. Now let's see how we can calculate. We know that simple interest is equals to PTR by 100. Simple interest is exactly 1/4 of the P, so 1/4 of P is equals to principal amount is P only. Now time, rate of interest, these two are equal. Let us take some x. So x into x by 100. Now PP get cancelled. Now 100 by 4 is equals to x square and 25 is equals to x square, and x is equals to square root of 25, and from this x is equals to 5. So in this way you can calculate the required value. What is x here? The rate of interest is 5% and time is 5 years. So in this way we can calculate the rate of interest or the time when these two are equal. So the question will be given like this: simple interest is 1/4. Tomorrow it may be 1/8. It may be 16/25 times of the principal amount, or it may be 2/3 of the principal amount. So like this, whatever the relation is given, we can find out. It is by using the meaning of the formula. If not, we can calculate in the other way also. Let's see how I can calculate that. Suppose if I take the principal amount as 100, we should get simple interest as 1/4 of that, which means 25. Now we want time and rate of interest, both are same. Suppose if I take this value as 2 years, obviously it is 2%. Now for 2 years 2% means 1 year 2%, 2 years totally 2 into 2 4%. So 4% of 100 is 4, which is not same. Suppose if I take 3 years and 3%, because these two are same. Here 3 into 3, which is 9% of that, where the answer is 9. Now if I take the time as 5 years, and here rate of interest will become 5%. So for 5 years, 5% means 5 into 5, 25%. So 25% of 100 is 25, where it is the simple interest. So from this what you can understand? Simply you can check through this example. So like this you can find out the required rate of interest or time. Whatever it is, you will get the same answer. Even through the options also you can find out. If the time is 5, you should consider the rate of interest also 5. 5 years 5% means 25%. So you will get the required answer. 1/4 is nothing but 25%. Now the next question, a man deposited his sum, means principal amount, in a bank which pays interest at a rate which is not known. But if he deposits same sum in another bank which pays 3% more interest. Now, so once again, a man deposited his sum in a bank which pays interest at a rate, and he deposited in a bank, here you can add, for 4 years. For what time he deposited? For 4 years. So the man deposited his sum in that bank for 4 years, which pays the interest at a rate which is not known. Now if he deposits the same sum of money in another bank which pays 3% more interest, now then he will get 480 rupees extra interest for the same time. Now we want the sum. Hope you understood the question. The question is very simple. A man who is having certain money, he deposited his money in a bank, and the bank was paying some interest, and the money was deposited for 4 years. Now instead of deposit in that particular bank, if he deposit the same money in another bank which is paying 3% more than the first bank, as a result he will get 480 rupees more interest than the previous case. Now I want the money he deposited or the sum he deposited. Now you can answer this question in n number of ways. Now let me show how you can answer. First method, the sum of money is not given, so let us take P, and time is given as 4 years, and let us take the rate of interest as R. In first case, simple interest 1 is equals to P into time 4 into R by 100. Now in the second case, the principal amount is same, so P into time is same into rate of interest 3% more for the second bank, so it is R plus 3 by 100. But it is clearly given that in the second case the interest is 480 rupees more than the first bank. So it means SI2 minus SI1 is equals to 480 rupees. By taking this equation, you can get the required answer. Substitute SI1 and SI2 values in this equation and you will get the required answer. This is one way. And another way, you can calculate through the options. Or the other way is, why I am getting 480 rupees extra? Because I am calculating for 4 years at the rate of 3%. Means rate of interest you can consider as 3 time as 4 years, simple interest as 480. Now you can substitute in simple interest is equals to PTR by 100, where simple interest is 480 and principal amount is not known, time is 4 years and rate of interest is simply 3%. So you can calculate by taking this formula. And the other way, which is simple here, is why you are getting 480 rupees extra interest? Because we are calculating 3% more than the previous case. So we are calculating 3% more for what time? For 4 years. So 3% for 1 year and we are calculating for 4 years. Totally it is equals to 12%. So 12% extra interest we will get. So that 12% is equals to 480 rupees. So 12% is equals to 480 and I want the principal amount which is equals to 100%. What is the value? So from this you can calculate the required answer easily. So 12% 480 means 1% value is 40 and 100% value is simply 4,000 rupees. Now you can take 12% of 4,000 is simply 480 rupees. So from this you can understand the required answer. So this is how you can answer for this question. So like this you can answer any question from this topic by taking the formulas like PTR by 100 or amount is equals to principal amount plus interest, or the other way where we consider the principal amount as 100 and based on that we can calculate the interest. So in this way you can calculate the questions or the answers based on the requirement. So this is all about simple interest.